This is 5 Live.
It's 10 to 9. A couple who were cleared by a court last year of insulting a Muslim guest at their hotel have confirmed to 5 Live that their business has collapsed and is up for sale. Ben and Sharon Vogelzang, who ran their hotel in Liverpool, say the publicity resulting from their trial was to blame. They declined an interview.
Last week, a husband and wife who run a bed and breakfast in Berkshire were criticised for refusing to allow a gay couple to stay there. They too say they're worried about a backlash. Well, both couples are Christians and say their faith is immensely important to them. But are Christians being sidelined in the UK for their views? Are they being persecuted? People like George Carey, Bishop Michael Azionali were saying just that at the weekend. Simon Calvert is a spokesman for the Christian Institute. Simon, good morning.
Good morning.
And Terry Sanderson is president of the National Secular Society. Hello,
good morning.
Terry. This is the subject of a film which I've actually made, which is on Easter Sunday on BBC One at 10:50, and we are asking the question, are Christians being persecuted? So you can see that this coming Sunday on BBC One. Are they, Simon?
I think the evidence is that there is a form of persecution. I'm slightly reluctant to use that word, but there certainly is a marginalisation, a sidelining of Christians going on. I mean, I've got in my hand a booklet called Marginalising Christians, which you can get from our website, and it's got 88 cases in it of Christian people mainly facing difficulty simply for trying to be faithful to what they believe, and it extends from the minor end of the spectrum, such as banning Christmas and all these ludicrous things.
Well, it's something about it's the sort of Winterval and Christmas lights and things
yes,
like that.
All that jazz. That's right.
Winter lights and all that stuff. Yeah.
Yes, and people being told they can't wear crosses, and we have that case. It's very much in the news now. The Nurse Shirley Chaplin, where that's what she was told. But it also goes up to, I have to say, to violence. I mean, there are numbers of recorded incidences of Christian people facing violence, especially clergymen. So I think there is a problem, and we need to know why it is that Christians are regarded as fair game for the authorities, and in some cases even regarded as fair game for people who want to be verbally or physically abusive towards them.
Now, Terry Sanders, Christians, they're mocked a lot, and a lot of people are wary about almost coming out as Christians, but people would be far less likely to mock other religions.
Well, I don't think that's true. There are 2 films mocking Islam out this very week, but at the same time, I think a lot of these cases just simply do not stand up to examination. You look at the background to them, and whenever they're brought to court or to a tribunal, they're inevitably thrown out. The Christian Institute hasn't won a single case that it's brought to court.
What about the lady who wanted to wear a cross at work?
Well,
British Airways.
Yes, exactly. Now. The story we were given about Nadia Iwida, the lady at BA, was completely partial, the way it was presented in newspapers. When it came to the tribunal, and I read the whole judgment that they issued on this, it was a very different issue. When the whole story came out, it wasn't quite the way that it had been presented by the Christian Institute and newspapers that give them favourable coverage. So
it's been taken up by Liberty. Shami Chakrabarti has taken up her case.
Yeah, I think that's wrong. I think she's made a mistake.
Why?
Because if you look at the judgment, Miss Iwida was far from being just a poor persecuted little Christian. She was actually a very determined religious activist who was determined to get privileges in her workplace.
Well, it's interesting, Simon Calvert, a poor persecuted little Christian. The choice of language by Terry Sanderson is interesting, isn't it?
Well, I think this is the problem. I mean, there is frankly just a lack of sympathy towards Christian people. A lot of effort has been made in recent. A lot of effort has been made in recent years, I think, to try and better understand various groups in society. But how much effort is being made to try and understand Christians and where they're coming from and what it is they believe? And why is it, for example, that when they explain that they believe the Bible teaches that all sex outside of marriage is wrong and that they must live consistently with that, that people accuse them of being homophobic, of either hating or fearing homosexual people, when that's not where they're coming from at all?
Nobody's stopping Christians saying these things. I mean, who is stopping you saying these things and preaching these things? But you
police
misrepresent.
In some cases.
Well, I would support, these street preachers who are arrested occasionally for preaching against homosexuality. I would support that, and their right to do that. But when you start to exaggerate and mislead people, that's when I have trouble with it. I mean, for instance,
Yes.
Can I just tell
I'd
you
like
about
to respond
what
to that
the bishop
allegation.
said? Yeah, what the bishop said. I'll be very specific about what the bishop said on Sunday in their letter to the Sunday Telegraph. I'll just read one sentence from it. There have been numerous dismissals of practicing Christians from employment for reasons that are unacceptable in a civilized country. Now, there hasn't been a single dismissal of a Christian for being Christian. And I defy you to name one of them.
Right. Well, I mean, I've just said that we've got this Marginalising Christians booklet with 88 cases, documented cases.
Who has been dismissed? Who has been dismissed?
Made up. I'll come to that. They can't all be made up. I mean, certainly. And the fact is, the problem that you have is that these are only the cases that are in the public square. We have an entire department here, a legal defence fund, with staff dedicated full-time to dealing with requests for help from Christian people who feel they're being mistreated. And they are getting several new requests for help every week. And the fact is that the vast majority of those never make it into the public realm, because you're dealing with people who are under such intense pressure, whose lives are being turned upside down by, yes, losing their jobs, being denied jobs, and being mistreated in other ways. And these people, the last thing they want is for their cases to be exposed to the scrutiny of the media. These cases are happening. I mean, there are several people known to me personally, who have lost jobs because they are Christian, because they have tried to live consistently with their Christian beliefs. And in the same way that you would find
the equality law.
Well,
why don't you take them to court?
Well, what you know very well that the Lillian Liddell ruling proves, rather states in fairly direct terms, that when it comes to a clash between, in that case, gay rights and religious rights, that religious rights rather come second, and that's a problem.
What about gay Christians?
Is that question addressed to me?
It's a sort of rhetorical question that I just threw out. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think that in as much as Christian people seek to live out consistently with Bible teaching in a way that doesn't fit with what you might call political correctness, they come off rather badly.
You might call different interpretations of what men wrote a long time ago. But you might listen. We're going to have to leave it there. But can I just say to both of you, don't miss the programme on BBC One on Easter Sunday. The film Are Christians Being Persecuted, which explores these issues. Simon, thank you.
Thank you.
Terry Sanderson, thank you too.